Hello, welcome back to We Watched a Movie That's Wham for you fucking uninitiated bitches. Oh my god. Talking about Hellraiser Judgment, the spoiler review. Now, we already did a non-spoiler review, so if you've not seen this movie, back the fuck away and don't blame us when you fucking get laid, okay? I don't know, I had to think of a rhyme.
Blessed are they who come to my supper.
Oh my god, there are such sights to show you. Jesus wept. Oh god, that's so fucking nasty when you hear that though. Basically, Pinhead's like, nobody plays with puzzle boxes anymore, so. He goes,
these goddamn kids with their fucking iPhones, man.
I know, that's what he's like. He's basically like.
I know all Twitter,
he's a marketer. He's like, how can we get it in their fucking hands? And the auditor comes in, he's like, I have an idea. Listen to me. There is still lust and sin everywhere, but it's all about porn and things like that. We have to be forefront. And he was like, bring me their heads. Like, see, what Pinhead realizes is that nobody's gonna fuck with puzzle boxes anymore. Like, the lust and desire and evil is still there to get people into hell, which is what he wants to do no matter what. But he knows that they're not gonna go after the merchant box, because who the fuck wants to play with that? Like, you're not, he's like, is this on a fucking app? He wants the auditor to lure them in some way.
With everything you just said, they did an amazing job in this movie, and I fucking love this movie. Just dicks out. But when everything you said, like they managed to tell all that in like a short little quick scene, and at the very end of the scene, like you see Pinhead turn his head into the light.
That's
for the first
badass.
time.
I like that.
And it's fucking dope. And he's like, "Yes, bring them to me."
Obsolete, irrelevant. In an age when desire has become amplified, but where lust can be sated electronically, we need something more than just a wooden box.
There is a mechanism. The house is ready. We can adapt.
Technology may have advanced, but sin remains unchanged. Pure. Greed, lust, lies, betrayal.
This new millennium hurtles forward. Faith is lost. Mankind have become a vacuum without morality. So many souls seeking new and darker experiences. Degradation upon degradation, sin after sin.
So then those are the souls we shall seek out first.
And that's what they do. They find this fucking bum who's also, I think, child killer, child molester.
He's a child killer, yeah.
And they write him a note. They're like, "Hey, come over here." He's like, "Okay, it's across the street."
Yeah, he didn't even fucking say anything. He was like, well, that's on my way to Dairy Queen, so I guess I'll stop by.
So y'all got any of them goddamn?
Hey, is that next to Benjamin?
Y'all got some of them basic cigarettes?
Them American Golds?
He goes across the street, and the shots are really good, especially for such a low budget. But he goes into this big fucking house across the street. And he sits down, or they force him to sit down, and the auditor, who's fucking badass in this movie, and it's played by the director. He does such a good job, dude. He reminds me actually of Jim from The Office, because as the movie goes on and crazy shit's happening, sometimes he'll just look at the camera after Pinhead says something, and he'll be like, oh.
Well, he was like, what he does is he essentially interviews these people and tells them that you need to tell me what you've done, like the worst thing you've done, so I can type it on this paper, and there's a reason why he does that for. And if you lie, and he's like, please, let's not do this.
He brings out his old knife, he's like, don't make me fuck you up.
You see my face, you think me give a fuck.
I've had my shit busted.
I felt like he was a 2020 interviewer. He's like, no, seriously, what happened? He's like, well, he goes, I just told you, if you guys listen to my publicist, and he was like,
so into it though, he's like, oh yeah, tell me more.
I think he turns on, but he was like, you know, but he was like some kind of journalist, like really like aggressive journalist.
It's like a ghostwriter. It's like, oh, I've been there, brother.
No, and he was like, yeah, and he makes you feel comfortable. He's like the fat fucking child killer. He's like, I couldn't help myself. He's like, of course you couldn't. and then the guy was like, yeah, like I couldn't. He's like, I know that. So tell me more. And then he's like, yes, and then he was like, well, you have quite an appetite. And then he's like, now you will be interviewed.
Yeah, he promises him a reward. He's like, just tell me the story. This is not how he talks, but we're just gonna talk this from now on. It's like, tell me the story, I give you a reward. Okay, I get this from the back. I got it back there. It's not great. It's a pony.
Yeah, but he does it in like that excitable way, but just like more low key. He was like, I have to give you a reward. You'll be so happy with it. Okay.
He goes and gets the assessor. He's like, you'll be assessed. It's like a doctor's office, you know, or like an interview for a job. So he goes and gets the assessor.
Where the fuck did you interview?
The assessor's John
For a gas
Goulder,
station job.
who does this is the guy who directed the movie Feast. It comes out and
is that who it is?
Yeah, he's got this suit jacket on.
His titties hanging out.
He goes, I was like, yeah, he looks like Christopher Columbus. He's like, he comes out with this fucking vial of children's. He's like, children's tears. And the guy's like, what the fuck? And he pours these children's tears. Like, give me a tears, Gypsy.
I don't trust you, Gypsy.
He takes what the auditor printed and pours the children's tears onto the papers.
On the manuscript, yeah.
Sits there like a fucking disgusting bastard and just cuts them up and starts shoveling the papers into his mouth and eating it.
I like how he looks at him when he gets ready to do it. He's like, he's like, and then he starts like, after he's done eating it, he starts like gagging and shit. And then that fucking child goes like, "Search you right, you sick bastard!" And then he's like, "Whoa, whoa!" And this is where it gets like the first grossy scenes.
Nasty.
He vomits into this little like tube, and you see this like fucking gooby booby thing go down, like get sucked down the tube.
It goes into the bathroom in Desperado.
Yeah, and then like there's a urinal trough, and all these like naked women, they have nice titties, they have nice bodies, but their fucking faces all jacked up. They go down and they start playing with it.
Jay would bang that.
I would fucking I mean, it's desperate nights. But you know, their shit's all fucked up in their face, but their bodies are sexual. And the auditor's like hanging by the door, like, I can't look at your boobies, but what have you done? And what they do is they weigh it, like I guess the vomit, to see if it's worthy.
And you see it, they push their fingers into it.
Yeah, and they wanna know like what it feels like to touch a turd.
It's like that scene in 300 with the oracles.
Yeah. So they do this and like, no. And then he's like, so what happens is, based on their judgment, is they're the jury, I guess. The auditor goes back and tells the person, in this case, the child killer, "You have been found guilty, and now you will be acquitted. You've been acquitted." And then they take him, and this is where it gets like, it's still, the gross part's still working.
This is all the opening scene.
Yeah, this is, and they strap him down to this fucking like concrete, like, well, this plaque thing, or I don't know, this wooden bed. And these women come in and it's like, "You must be clean from the outside to the inside." And they start fucking,
"Get inside you!"
they edema his ass. They fucking go deep down. And they just get your shit pushed in. They do. They like get really nasty into it. They clean his body. They lick him and shit.
Like, even the auditor, when he sees it, he goes, "Oh."
Yeah. He's like, "I cannot be a part of this."
He's Hell's version of Jim from The Office, because he sees some shit sometimes. He just goes, "Oh."
So they clean his ass up. I don't know what that is. They put something nasty in his mouth, and then the surgeon comes in at the last part. And what the fucking surgeon
comes out of that baby's butt.
I know. It's like, "I've been carrying this weight all day." This dude
comes out with his baby face, and he's like,
you know, I don't remember the game. It was, well, no, I know it's Mortal Kombat, but you know that big giant fucker, and he has a little kid on his back riding around with him, and it jumps off to do damage. That's what it is. This guy turns around, and this little creature thing from American Horror Story Season 1.
I was unaware that the intruder were biters.
All right, Sister White, now you got it. He comes off, and he sits down there, and he like starts slicing him open, and then takes his fucking skin off, and then throws it to the girls.
Dude, that
there.
Skin was so baggy and nasty looking. I was sitting there going, "Oh." My wife was actually, I was over there watching it, right?
Yeah.
And my wife was over here trying to do work so she could just hear it, and I almost felt bad, like disgusting, because she could hear what was going on in the back, and I was like, "This shit's fucking nasty."
Did you do one of those things where you're like, turn it down? But so they pull his skin off, and after that though, they give the 3 titted bitches, they're like serving of blood, and they're like, "Well."
Oh yeah. Once they cut them up, it goes through another wall, and those chicks are just sitting down there, and it's basically like the money shot in porn, where some dude like jacks off on the girl's tits at the end, only it's blood. So the girls step up, and they're like, "Whoa." Dude, who thinks of this?
But the entire time, Pinhead just sitting there looking at a wall, thinking of like pancakes. Like, he doesn't care. He's like, "I know all this."
He's in a bathroom stall.
I know. He's like, I think he's taking a dump. He's real quiet. But yeah, but Pinhead the entire time he's just on his throne. He doesn't want to be bothered with bullshit. And I don't. But see, that's where he got, like, to me, I'm not sure what they're doing, because like, in a way they're just writing letters to the killers and getting them to come to their house so they can get them. Yeah. But they're breaking the rules, because the rule is that the Cenobites can only come out and fuck with you if you open the box, and they're not opening the box, so they didn't really explain why they're allowed to do that. Like, they're not really allowed to be on Earth
because they create party chat.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, Snapchat.
Send them a text message.
Instantly. No, I mean, but it's
slide
like,
to them DMs.
But the house is a little section of hell on Earth. But I mean, they never really explain why they're allowed
Budget,
to have that.
baby.
I know. Well, no, I mean, but they don't. I mean, I know that there's a budget, but they just don't explain why that specifically is allowed to be there, because that does break the rules in a lot of ways. Because the only other time Pinhead was allowed to be on Earth without the fucking box was, I think, in Hellraiser 3, and that was a totally different beast. But everything else was all controlled. Like, you can only get to hell like that through the box. So I don't know. I mean, I let that go because look, money's a bitch. Like, I know that you can't really explain everything.
And you see, this one of the scenes, like, they did a great job with the budget in this. They used all the budget for the effects, and they made everything look fucking awesome. And they paid decent actors good money to be in this. I mean, I don't know what they paid them, but they got decent actors, and they
$25.99 plus a coupon to Kroger.
They did great special effects. It's hard to tell that this is a low budget movie. The only times you can see it's a low budget movie is when you get to the back of the doctor's office, the quick care basically as it is. Yeah. And basically all the many of the characters that you know from the Hellraiser franchise are all sitting back in this basement, and the twins are in the corner just like hanging out, having their conversation. And then you got this dude over here, Pinhead's hanging out in a stall. So you can kind of see it there, because in a bigger budget movie it'd be weird. But I do like the idea that they're all just like hanging out, having like drinks together in the back of this fucking house.
We'll get back to Pinhead and his cohorts in a minute. In a minute, we'll talk about real quick the brother detectives and what's going on there. They're basically on the hunt for a serial killer that's been slicing ass and what he's doing, he's matching it up to the commandments of God. Like, and so therefore you got 7 right there. Like, thou shalt, sloth, wrath, greed. The whole thing. I was just waiting for Morgan Freeman to burst in, like, have you ever seen anything like this?
One of the detectives, not the main guy, but his brother actually literally dresses and kind of looks in a weird way like Brad Pitt. I mean,
it's butt chin.
It is dead on set.
But that's what they're doing. And yeah, there are some grotesque, things that this serial killer does. And that's a cool story in of itself. Like, if that was just a movie, like, dealing with that kind of thing, would I say 7 ripoff? Absolutely. But I would still have fun with it.
If you're gonna rip off a movie, make it 7.
The older brother of the 2 detectives is the actual serial killer. Like, he is the one he's Dexter. Like, he fucking is close to this case because he is the killer. But the other 2, like the younger brother and the girl that comes on board, they really don't have a place. Like, sometimes they're just barely used. And first off, fuck his younger brother, because his younger brother rats his ass out anyway. He's like, I don't trust him.
Well, he's banging his wife.
I know, he's a piece of shit.
The worst.
And he knew that his wife had cheated on him. Like, he knew this shit too. But he didn't know his fucking brother had until later on. And he's like, fuck them all. I hate my fucking brother. He took my CDs once from Megadeth collection. Fuck you.
And I really like Sean Carter as the main detective in this. He does a really good job at being the main guy in the movie. And I found his story really interesting. He ends up in the midst of trying to track down the killer, which the killer does the very next scene after the opening is badass too, because they find this girl as one of his kills. She's like all like, obsessed with herself, taking selfies and shit like that. And there's a scene, and it's very Hellraiser, because she takes a picture of her dog on Snapchat or whatever. She's like, I worship this dog. I worship this dog. And they had that playing over and over again. And then you find out that he put the fucking dog in her womb.
Up through her vagina. Like, that's too. Because the only way he could get it, he had to go through her vagina.
I don't know. I didn't realize that.
That's what they said. Yeah, on gold.
It was like a fucked up episode of Criminal Minds. But they pulled the dog out of her womb. Just fucking like, you crazy. You fucking crazy.
Capital bits.
Child, please.
Capital pits.
Child,
what is you doing?
I really liked the main detective. I thought he did a really good job carrying a lot of this movie.
I liked him so much. I think that he could have been, no.
You changed your mind.
No, I was going to say something. I was going to say, because John Bernthal's so good, The Punisher.
He's alright. He'll be okay.
He might be a little softer version. But yeah, it was still good though.
He's tracking down the case, and he actually ends up at the house trying to find out who the killer is, which is weird because he's the killer, but either or.
When he runs into Pinhead and its cohorts.
Yeah, he goes there, and the auditor does his shit, and the movie it's a really good piece of writing, because the movie makes you think, when the assessor comes in and starts puking up and like dies and shit, they make you think that he's dying because they accidentally brought an innocent guy there who did everything he did for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And then this is where the movie has the balls to take. There's a lot of references to Hellraiser. They say, I have such sights to show you. There's a lot of references to the other movies, but this is where the movie does have the balls to take, not only give fan service, but take it into a different direction, which I really like too. Because the auditor really wants to kill this motherfucker. You need to be clean! You need to be clean!
I like that. Well, the thing about that thing was when he is doing the interview with the lead detective, Sean Carter, and it's obviously a long ass manuscript. I mean, the auditor's fucking. he's only mad because his fucking fingers hurt from typing so much. I mean, it's just nonstop. And when the assessor comes in to do it, like he sees a giant stack and he gets excited. He's like, oh, I like this shit. But he starts choking on it. And I think they said that, well, they kind of what I thought was that he was a chosen one, like an innocent or something. And that's why he was choking on the blood. But when the auditor comes, he's like, what have you done? What have you done, Mike? So he does, he gets all, he's like, what have you done? I don't know what you've done. And then Pinhead's like, what? Like, because the auditor is like, he's like a kid that's like he's like the little brother of Pinhead. And then now some shit's happened.
Yeah.
And he has to go get Big Brother. And Big Brother's been hanging out in the bathroom, like you said, for a while.
Well, the reason he has to go get Pinhead is because he goes into this room and all of a sudden this bright white light appears and this chick shows up and he's like, oh shit, I better pay attention to what she has to say. She's got a lot of followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And she comes in and you don't realize it at first, but she's actually from like heaven in a weird fucked up way. And she's like, no, don't kill him. And he's like, but why? It's like my 2-year-old, like when you ask her, she's like, but why? But why? And that's what he basically keeps doing. He's like, but why? And she's like, just don't. I need him here. We want him here. So he gets pissed and he's like, no, fuck that shit. I'm going to get my boss, Greg. He goes and gets Pinhead. He's like, we need your help. And Pinhead comes out and in a badass scene actually does the take from my body and like eats the piece of bread and it's fucked up.
I think it was funny when he went and got Pinhead though, because Pinhead's just hanging out looking at the wall for the last fucking 45 minutes of the movie, and when he walks in, the auditor, obviously he's not supposed to be there. That's where you see the Wire twins, but Chatterer comes up and then you see Pinhead's like, no. He's like, no.
Not today.
I don't want to. And then he's like, what do you want? He's like, I played my game. And then he tells him the situation, like, why is she here? But like, again, the guy, Paul T. Taylor that played Pinhead, did such a great job. He liked Sean Carter. Like, that was the thing. He was like, you would be a great addition to my boy band. Like, he was like, you have done this. And then, like his little brother was like, shut your fucking mouth. Like, Pinhead gets mad. He's like, shut your mouth and bow your head to the filth that your brother has built.
I love that, dude. I love that.
I was like, and then like, he spikes him and then drags him back. He's like, they will be dealt with accordingly. Then he looks at his...
In your name.
No, yeah, and Sean, he's like, Abitus. I was like,
this is great writing, man.
I know. I was like, because Pinhead is actually like what he's saying, and you know, some people that aren't familiar with the Hellraiser franchise, if you hadn't really watched them, he's paying Sean Carter a compliment by saying that you're going to be a great general or some kind of elite soldier in my army, and those fuckers will, because you hate them because they're adulterers, and I know why you hate them. They'll be dealt with, but they'll have a chance. And he was like, but you have been a filth, bow the head, get inside you.
I love that.
Dude, he's so badass.
I did get scared in the next scene though, because the lady in white shows back up from heaven and she basically says, hey, I'm from heaven and we had a deal. And it's kind of a middle finger to religion, and it's like the whole thing is, but she's like, you know, it's like they said earlier in the movie, he's like, same city, different zip code, you know? But she's like, you know, we let you guys do your thing down here. Heaven actually wanted him to kill. He was killing for us because we need evil for there to be good. And it gets really deep.
So, if
you think about it.
It's Heaven's hitman.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like a good guy, but evil is necessary in this regard to continue their work.
And I got scared because for a second there, it looked like Pinhead
gave
kind
him
of
the bucks.
Wait, but at first though, I did get scared because Pinhead was kind of like, you're right, I'm sorry. And I was like, Pinhead ain't nobody's bitch.
The auditor was like, oh no, you must stop. He's like, let me handle this bitch.
Master, no.
I am in control.
But then Pinhead fucks her over, and he actually he does
the full-on thing,
and you get the classic another.
I loved it. There's one scene specifically when she was like, the agony or the suffering that you will receive. Like, how dare you use such a word? Dare you? And then I was like, you fucking get up, bitch! And then she does this thing when like the throwback's the first one when her fucking face is hanging on the hooks and she was like, Jesus wept, and he's like, indeed. And then he rips her face apart, dude. That was so classic Pinhead, and the guy that played him, Paul T. Taylor, really like took control of that character. I think the last 15 minutes of this movie is showcasing Paul T. Taylor, exactly what they were talking about, how great of an actor he is, and how he was able to take this role and really run with it and make it his character. Giving tribute to Doug Bradley. You know, whatever Doug Bradley brought to that, he incorporates that as much as he can into the character, but he has his own style too. And even the makeup, he just looks, I'm not going to say more vicious than Doug Bradley, but he has more of a, some kind of angular, something about his face is a little bit darker than Doug Bradley.
I love
Doug
that
Bradley's
he pulls the pins out too.
and puts it in their face.
Head.
And then he was like talking about Jesus, like, oh, you'll save her, like, because he makes the crown is what he's doing. But it was
This
funny.
shit blasphemic as
I think
fuck.
it really was, but I think it's funny how because I never thought that Pinhead gave a fuck about her. Like she was talking about this war and like why we need to have him. He's like, do you know who I am? He's like, I don't care.
He's like, there's nothing. He's like, look at me. He's like, I got pins in my fucking head. There's nothing worse you could do to me. I like this shit.
He's like, let me ask you a question.
I'm at home court right now. Like, I love this. What can you do?
At what point did you think that you were going to come into my home and tell me what the
my
fuck to
children
do?
play with their toys.
But see, it was still what happened at the end though. When
The auditor's like, are you sure you want to do it? Better not.
he's
This
like,
or not.
and when he rips her apart, he's like, the auditor's like, oh sis.
I did not rape her. I did not.
I liked it. I thought it was funny though when he was doing the chain stuff to her, and the auditor was in the back going. She was like, something's going down at the castle, and Pinhead was like, ooh, you like it? Pinhead's fucking boss, dude. Like he really didn't care. He was like, what are you gonna do to me? Seriously, like agony, terror, like that's what I welcome. Twist my nipples
That's my biscuits and
with
gravy.
an electrical clamp and fucking tell me yes, because I'm gonna love it every day. And then she's like, that's when he kills her, and the auditor's like, there's worse things. And then it's basically being exiled. Exiled from hell would be worse than death.
Well, they all it ties back into the same thing. Why they like the main serial killer so much, because he has his big speech, which I liked. It was really good about how fucking pathetic people are. Not that I agree with it. I'm just saying that was a good speech. But how like the worst thing in the world is being on this earth, and he just wants
people
to get
are
out of
bad.
it.
So
And that's what she does.
Most
She puts them back into what that you assume is she puts them back in their original bodies. And actually, what I thought, you corrected me on this. I thought at the very end shot, you see the dude on his knees in a fucking alleyway as a homeless person screaming no. Oh, that was Pinhead. And
No.
I did not like it.
Because I was gonna say it was Pinhead, but then like he had the same scarring that the auditor had, so because you only see a quick flash of Pinhead. It could have been Pinhead, but I don't think it was. Because I never really seen Paul T. Taylor out of his makeup, so I'm not sure. But it looked like the scarring on his face was the auditor, and that's why he starts screaming.
I think you're right.
But the thing about, and I don't know where Pinhead is. Like maybe Pinhead fucking worked out a deal with the judge. Like, I don't know. But he said, "Fuck you, auditor." But
they're expecting one of us in the fire, brother.
somebody must go. I also
In the wreckage, not the
I like the reason also we didn't mention this really fast. Pinhead wanted Sean Carter, like he wanted his soul, like he needed that for his army, and she was like, "No, we need him on Earth." So what he does is he realizes he looks down. This is a really sly part, and I love this part of the film. He looks down and sees that gun. He knows that detective chick that he shot or whatever isn't dead. So what he does, he's like, "Sure, I'll send him back. I'll do it." And then when he sends it back, as soon as the motherfucker wakes up, that girl that's not dead shoots his ass and kills him. And then that's when the angel gets all mad. She's like, "You knew that." He's like, "Human nature is so easy to predict." I was like, God damn it!
It's badass.
Every time you think he's done, he keeps chunging you with the fucking tungsten. But yeah, he just kept going, dude.
He
Like,
chunged you with the tungsten.
that's not even a real
You
thing.
don't want it.
But it
You
should
don't
be.
want it.
If you gotta ask about it, buddy, you can't afford it. But yeah, dude, he totally pulled this character off. I'm very happy with the selection of the Pinhead they got. I mean, is it Doug Bradley? Again, no, it's not, but it's just the way I feel about Robert Englund. Robert Englund will always be Freddy Krueger. He's the granddaddy of all time with Nightmare on Elm Street. But you gotta let somebody else have their moment in the sunlight. And I think that Paul T. Taylor does that really well. And I hope that they do make more with him as the lead with Pinhead and go into the future with what they've started here. Do I think that, personally speaking, do I think that it would be cool to have a Hellraiser remake? Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. See, after this movie, now I'm unsure. Like, before this movie with Revelation sucking so much dick, I would say for sure, remake it, get Clive Barker back, let's do it all again. But they're doing such a great job with this, like, kind of a springboard. I would almost say let them go. Like, let them go,
Dude,
Charles.
give Tunnicliffe massive amounts of fucking credit, because I believe that Dimension did just want this to be let's just put it out so we can hold on to the rights.
Well, he
for
didn't want it
something
to be
better.
like that, yeah.
And Tunnicliffe delivered on his promise, man. there wasn't a lot of budget in this, and you could barely tell. They used all the budget they had on the right fucking things. This is a horror fan that made this film, and the writing's really good, and there's a lot of thought into it, and the acting's good, and they just did a great fucking job.
All they gotta do...
Honestly, dude, I gave it a 7.5 in our original review of it. Just talking about it more and more, I think about it, dude, I give this an 8. Like, I fucking like this a lot.
I kind of increased mine a little bit too. I'm gonna go with 7.5. But the fact is, he didn't let the studio, whether or not Dimensions was like, you know what, we're just gonna throw this out there. Do what the fuck you want with it. He didn't let that like derail him. He was like, I'm gonna make a great movie. I want to make a great movie. They only give me this much money to work with. I'll make this money work with what I got, and I'll take it in the constraints and fuck you in the butt. And he does that. He does that very well, very hard, and very deep. And you feel good about it when you're done. You're like, I'm not even into that, but I'm all right. I'm okay. But I really, and that's the question of the day for me, is would you like to see, with this guy at the helm, what they'll do in a sequel?
With more money.
With more money, or would you like them, maybe enough money for it to go to theater, just give it a chance with what he's doing with writing, or would you rather see them remake the entire franchise and go that route? Now, I wouldn't argue either way because, to be honest, this is the 10th movie in the series. Yeah. It's the 10th one. I mean, every other series has had a reboot in some way, except for Chucky. Child's Play's never had a reboot, really. No, ever. So, that's a good question, man. I mean, honestly, and that's where I'm lost. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to go play with the merchant box to find the answers.
You know what, dude? If we've talked about this before, but if the new Halloween makes a fuck ton of money, all these things are going to start coming out of the wazoo. And maybe, I just hope, you know what, Dimension, if you guys decide to actually put some fucking effort on your end, the studio's end, into doing this, not just for the rights, but to make a great movie and make a theatrical release, give Gary Tunnicliffe the fucking chance to direct it. Because he was great as the auditor, and he did a great job directing this with little. And you, sir, are a fucking real man of genius today, so yeah.
Thank you, Tunnicliffe, for fucking realizing the greatness of Pinhead, and happy day who come to my supper.
Oh god, Zod. Comment down below, let us know your all's thoughts on all this. We love your fucking faces, and if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some of my goddamn way of opinions.
You know, I just realized the only way that you actually kill Pinhead, you call it Baba Yaga.
The Baba Yaga.